So Holly, let's open up for some questions, hon.
Yeah, great. Well, we don't have any in the chat right now. Audience, please go ahead and type your questions into the chat, as you have them. But we do have a couple that have come in to me, so I'd like to just share those with you if that's okay, Rebecca.
Absolutely.
Okay. The first one was just can you please lay out the pricing again, and just had some confusion on the pricing.
Okay, so for the broker, it's $129 a month, unlimited assessments and unlimited matches.
Oh, that's
So
great, Rebecca. Okay.
that's for the brokers, and then for the ZORs to do the research is $1,300 basically. And Holly, I do see a couple of questions, but they're coming in under the questions section versus the chat section.
Yep, see it now. All right, so Rebecca, can we see a list of ZORs that you already have so they can see if their favorites are on that list, and then and if not, can you ask them to join? So are you able to do that, or do they make that invitation? How does that work, Rebecca?
Well, obviously this is the business we're in, so we're inviting ZORs always to do the research and get the SpotOn eclipse report, and only recently launched the match. So we will begin some direct marketing to franchisors. And if you send me an email, I'll send you our current list, knowing that changes, every week. But I got to tell you, the best way for these ZORs to come on is if they are working with you, they know they need you. If you encourage them by simply saying, hey, I'm matching with these 150 franchisors and you're not on the list, so I'm afraid you're getting missed. So just encourage them.
Okay, great. Thanks. And hi, Stephen. It's Holly. And then the next one comes from Reggie Basin Basin. How are you able to create a SpotOn matches for an emerging brand that only has a couple of franchisees? So again, looking to understand how you're able to build that profile when they don't have a lot in their system yet, Rebecca.
That's a great question. Reggie must be a little bit scientific. So we call that a compatibility blueprint instead of a top performer blueprint. So what we do is obviously some modeling. We start with the leadership of that franchise organization, assessing the concept originator and any team members, knowing those first franchisees must be compatible with that leadership team. We obviously take into consideration they are stage 1 or maybe a 1.5 or 1.7 franchise organization. We look at their value statement, their vision statements, to see if we can begin to determine if there's a culture that's evolving. If they have any stores, any locations, of course, we're going to look at those, especially if they're prototypes and they're successful prototypes, what's causing those to be successful. And then we go to our database, looking at other organizations that has similar organizational structure, similar cultures, similar stage of growth, similar verticals, and we begin to do some modeling. So to your point though, Reggie, the accuracy for a compatibility blueprint versus a top performer blueprint is going to be different because we don't have the hard numbers of franchisees. But you're going to get 80-85% there. You're going to make sure you're at least not getting the wrong people for them. And then of course we encourage the franchisors as they grow, we come back in and reevaluate. We just recently had this with probably in your inventory, a company called Blooming Blinds, growing very, very rapidly, and just did their compatibility blueprint maybe 8 months ago. We're right back in there adjusting, adapting the algorithms based on what we've learned about ramp up time and what's going on in that system. So great question, Reggie.
Rebecca, what does it cost for a franchisor to then do that reassessment with you?
There's no charge the second time around. It's a one-time fee. It's our credibility at Zoracle to keep those algorithms current. So we
That's
don't want
great.
to make a financial obstacle for a franchisor to do that. So if they're a fast-growing organization, like I just mentioned, we will be in there likely within 18 months. If it's a more stable legacy, a brand, we probably don't need to redo it, maybe every 3 to 5 years.
Great, thank you. And then how many franchisors do you have on board right now, Rebecca?
I think we have right around 150 franchisors on board at this point.
Okay, great. And this is a question from Jean-Paul. He says, can you please ballpark what percentage of FranServe franchisors are on the Zoracle system?
You know what? I am going to do a ballpark. We are in conversations with leadership at FranServe and FBA and all of them, as you know. And I believe FranServe has the largest inventory. So the percentage of Zors is going to be smaller for FranServe than I would have for IFPG or FBA or BAI or FCC or some of the other organizations. So whatever your inventory is, we have about 150. Of those 150, likely half or 3/4 will be in your inventory. That's a huge ballpark, but that's about the best I
Okay.
can do.
That's a good answer. And then David says, how many total Zors from all broker associations are in the system?
150.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many existing franchisees are required to provide enough data to create the reverse engineered profile? In other words, how large will franchise concepts be when they can start to being matched with the franchise candidates?
So obviously the answer is the more the better, which is why we're in there on a regular basis. And as you guys know, most franchise systems never get past 50 franchisees. So if in the ideal perfect world, it would be 30, 30, 30, 30 top, 30 mid, 30 low. But when 80% plus franchisors never get to 100 units, I can't do 30, 30, 30. So
Right.
a perfect specimen in that kind of environment is a 10, 10, and 10. Again, if you got a baby Zor, they may not even have 30 locations. So we work with whatever we have, and we do a lot of modeling based around that, and obviously 26 years of research.
Excellent. Thank you. And then David has another question. He says, why do only 5 concepts show up? And he says he understands that it's the 85% match. However, can it show more? Are they able to customize this at all, Rebecca?
So right now it is just the 5. It's the way the program is set up. If I get enough brokers saying, can I have more, can I have more, we might discuss that. Some of this, honestly, is a financial model for Zoracle, to be fully transparent. If we give you everything for free, we may never make any money. So we are pondering that if you need more, that there might be an option where you can click, I need another 5, or I need another 2, or whatever. But right now, the way the system is set up is, you're right, it only does 5. And in some cases, your prospect may only match with 2 or 3.
Great. Thank you. And then what is the cost for the franchise consultant per report? Jean-Paul asked that question.
I'm sorry, what's the cost for the reports?
What is the cost for the franchise consultant per report?
So we have an unlimited subscription, which is $129 a month. You get all the reports you want and all the matches you want. There is a subscription. There's what we call an as-you-go. If you are a new broker, just sort of getting out there, don't have a whole bunch of leads yet, you can do a per assessment at $45, but you can see by the time you do 3 assessments, you're ahead just to do an unlimited.
Okay, great. Reggie says thank you. And then David follows up. He just asked if every Zor that you have that's taken this show up in the FBA members Zoracle dashboard. I'm wondering if he's wondering if all the members are in your attendance that are taking the show.
Can you ask the question again? I'm not sure I'm following completely.
I think he's just wondering if it looks like, I'm not really clear on it either. David, maybe if you could follow up with a little more details about the question you're asking there about every Zor that is taking the show up in the FBA. Does it show up?
Oh, I know. I think I know what we're talking about. And if I'm answering David
Okay.
incorrectly, then send me an email and I'll answer it. FBA has a program called the FLS, where brokers can, sort by various criteria, right? Categories, amount of investment, those kinds of things. So we are in conversation with Chris and team about how through an API our data will then go directly to the FLS. So you will be able to sort based on SpotOn match. So you'll sort the same way you've already been sorting on your FLS, but you'll also have an option to sort based on matches. So we're looking at the technical ins and outs of making that happen. So what would happen is you would have a single login into your FLS if you're an FBA broker, and the matches would be there. I'm not sure if we'll be doing something similar with other broker organizations, but obviously technology speaks to each other, and we're open to doing that. In the meantime, your matches will be on the Zorkel profile. I mean, on the Zorkel
Thank
dashboard.
you. Okay, and David, if there's more to that question or isn't exactly what you were looking for, please just email Rebecca. And then Stephen follows up, what are the steps in the research process for a Zor after they pay the fee? So real good question, Stephen.
So once they pay the fee, then there's a decision. Do they only want to make this data available to brokers? There are many franchisors that only work with brokers, right? So they're not doing organic leads. So if that's what they need, then they're done. They just simply pay the one-time fee. The data then is instantly available to you. On the other hand, Zoracle is going to attempt to upsell them. We want them as a client to use the tool for their organic leads, to generate Eclipse reports, and also to have some tools that ultimately trains, supports, mentors, coaches them. So our reports do a gap analysis of their current franchisees and, of course, incoming franchisees. So those tools and those services are available for the in-field franchise consultants that can help those franchisees ramp up better or see blind spots that maybe they haven't noticed before. So at that point, the franchisor, if we're able to upsell, which we hope we can, then they pay a licensing fee. It's similar in that there's two options. They can pay a per assessment fee, at which point that's $75 an assessment, or they can do an unlimited usage of all of our tools, and it's a monthly fee. And depending on the size of the franchisor, those fees can range anywhere from $330 a month up to $1,500 a month to use our tools.